this work. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
We are live on YouTube. Let me put the view right. Everyone, as you know, Trevor and I have done some beautiful episodes together, and we are doing part 4 today, which I'm really excited to do part 4. And also I'm streaming live on YouTube with this one, just to switch it up a little bit. And brother Trevor, it's nice to have you back on, man. How you doing?
Thank you, brother. Yeah, it's great to be back. It's great to see you again. It's great to catch up with everybody and let everybody know what's been going on.
What a journey, huh? What a journey since our last. We did 3 episodes together. I know you're doing some other shows too, getting content out. And it feels like we're getting into a pretty good rhythm right now, where spiritually, it was like everything had to get cleansed out.
Yeah.
Now we're baseline for this new transition that's about to take place.
Yeah, we're transitioning for sure. We're spiritually, right? We're ascending.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
So give us an update. What's been going on since part 3 in your world?
I was dealing with witchcraft quite heavy through part 1 and part 3. It was coming in waves, and it would appear that the demons they don't have the power that they had before. I'm not feeling it anymore. I'm not being attacked the way that I was.
Yeah.
We've been wrecking their world in the astral, in the sleeping world, in the 4D. Tonight, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. So the last time I was on the show, I spoke about witchcraft that had been on me, and
the gang stalking and all that.
The gang stalking and all, it all comes with it, right? When gang stalking is basically them stalking you so they can put witchcraft and demons and entities and whatnot on you. I've had all of those removed, and in the process learned so much about that world, the astral world, and what they've been doing. And when they drink the blood, they astral project, and they're they're able to move around in the lower 4th dimension and interact with the 4th dimension and the demons that reside there. But that's all kind of flipped on them right now from what I'm seeing. And I had some entities taken off me. Basically they'll send demons and entities from the 4th dimension to stalk you and mess with your life and your appliances. It's all electronic. And they can attach things onto your energetic etheric body. We've got multiple bodies outside of our physical body. And I had all of that stuff removed, and I've got protection against me now. And I've also been working with other mystics, and moving further into my own journey into mysticism and druidism. The Irish are the original druids. They're the original Jews. The 12 tribes of Israel are from the United Kingdom, which is Ireland and Scotland and Wales. And I've been traveling back and forward between Glastonbury and all of the ley line systems, and I've been working on the energy ley lines as well with some of the shamans. So we've been reading.
Explain the ley lines for those that don't know what that is.
They're energetic systems underneath the earth that carry our consciousness and energy throughout the world, really. But Glastonbury across into Fermoy in Ireland is the heart chakra of earth. So it's a really powerful area. So I've been spending time there. It's just been amazing. I went camping there a few weeks ago. I camped out for 3 weeks. I didn't want to go home.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So it's like I've been just learning more about my ancient bloodline. And my family were the High Kings of Ireland. When the Vikings came in, and the Vikings are the Romans, they rode into town on their boats, right? And they they took prisoners of the Irish, the Scots, and the Welsh, and the Brits, and you know, Jerusalem and Eden and all. That's all up in Scotland, you know, and the hill of Tara in Ireland is where all the ancient kings were coronated and made kings, you know, and obviously the Queen is gone now. And today, I don't know if you noticed on my Facebook, I posted a video about her going through her real coronation, which was a Druid affair.
Yeah,
because they were all they basically stole our knowledge, relabeled themselves with our names, with our Irish names, you know, and they took over everything, and they kind of just more or less like a cuckoo takes over, you know, nests and stuff like that. They came in here and took all of our identity, and they scattered the 12 tribes of Israel, which was us, across planet Earth. So you've got Canada, America, New Zealand, Australia. All those people are Irish or Scottish, or they're from the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom was both of our own.
And a lot of the United States.
The United States is full of Irish, whether you know it or not. If you're white,
they enslaved the Irish here.
The Irish were the biggest slaves. The blacks were worth twice as much as we were. You know, and we built it all. So we went from being kings of earth and stewards of the land for God and connected to God, to being slaves, you know. So like, I've been traveling around Ireland and checking out our castles and stuff like that. My family's castles, our clan, our tribe, and there was a lot of us, obviously, and they were all left in ruins, but they're still there, you know, and obviously they're still there, and the ruins are there because they couldn't take them out, because we've got the fairies and the fae and all these other entities that people don't know exist, and our guides and ancestors, and they're protecting all of that, you know, and they're all making a comeback now, you know. Your thoughts are not your own. Your thoughts are coming from your guides and your ancestors and God, or could be coming from demons, you know. Or do you like a bit of cocaine? Do you like to do drugs? Do you like to drink? Well, those thoughts are coming from lower level entities. They could be coming from the elites, other witches, you know. So people need to know like where their thoughts are coming from, and don't take them on and take them as your identity, because they're not. You're the one that answers them and acts on them, you know.
And one of the things I learned a long time ago, I worked in a deliverance ministry that ended up being dark. And
it was a cult. It
was a cult, but
you didn't know.
I didn't know, but I learned. I was a steward and apprentice of the head guy for many years, and I'd go to him. My mom would take me to this guy for years when I was a kid. So I learned spiritual authority. I've learned spiritual warfare. I've seen a guy, occult assassins would come in and all sorts of people, but I saw a guy, I'm sitting in there like kind of learning, and this guy's not touching anyone, and says some stuff to this guy, and it's like in prayer, and this guy goes like, turns and like looks up and was ready to go, and he couldn't move because the guy leading it is like, I bind you with the chains of Revelation chapter 20
in Isa's name.
And in Jesus' name, and the guy like literally could not get up to the couch, but his torso was like flailing to get up. I mean, I've seen wild stuff. So all these things, I learned how they can curse, how they send curses, usually through physical objects. So it's nice to have all these little jewelry stores in every mall in the world, and little kiosks, and they put silver, and they do all these things, and they'll put imprinted little, I mean, sometimes with the magnifying glass, pentagrams or different symbolism, and that's how the demons have legal authority to that physical item. So people bring this stuff into their home, not knowing that, well, why am I getting
energy attached to it?
Energy's attached to them. And there's someone that I know, a family member, that, and where I learned this first person, people would come up to her and be like, this one necklace that she got at a mall, they would come up to her. And I remember being a little kid, like, that's weird. Like, people would come up, I love your necklace. Like, all right, people go, I love your necklace. I love your
they're
necklace.
Demons. So they might have had a demon attached to them. It was the demon speaking.
100%. And she flipped it over one day, and she could barely see on the back of this necklace a little imprint. She got a magnifying glass. There's a pentagram with not just a star, but inside the circle, pentagram upside down.
Right. A
She's
sigil.
like, exactly. And she's like, this is what I understood. Like they're being drawn energetically. So people don't usually understand, like you're learning, and I'm just sharing this. The spiritual world is the reality. The physical world, like the low, it's like boring. You know, it's like, all right, you know, this doesn't change, you know, but everything's changing. Everything's a game. And when I'll tell you one other story real quick, and then I want to send it back to you.
No, I want to hear you. I've done enough talking.
When I was working at this one company in Seattle, and I was learning the spiritual authority and positioning and all these things. But remember, I was still a trauma, you know, my story, I was still in trauma, but I was learning the power structures and authorities. I was working at this company in Seattle, and I knew this one guy was a wizard, a high ranking wizard. And he would look at me and I'd look at him, and both in the spirit realm knew each other.
Yeah.
So I'm walking to lunch one day, I'm holding a whole bunch of papers. And I was working there for a summer job during college. I'm holding all these papers, and all of a sudden, like if someone pushed me as hard as they could, I get hit from behind, and all the papers fly onto the ground. And I'm like, what the? And it felt like someone pushed me in the back.
Wow.
And I look back behind me, and the guy's standing like 50 feet away like this.
Yeah.
Never even touched me, but he energetically sent it, and he was letting me. That was my last encounter with them. It was like, okay, game on. Like I had to really step up my
your protection, right?
Play this. Yeah, this is not a game. I mean, it's a game. Ultimately, it's a game, right? But it's not a child's game. This is this is the big league game.
This is heavy shit. Yeah. And it's like you're saying, like I kind of found out about witchcraft. I didn't even know about witchcraft, that it was real until about 2020. You know, maybe sooner than that, you know, being around Disney and stuff like that, I could feel things were changing with me. I knew after I broke away from him, I knew my intuition kept telling me that he had put witchcraft on me, but I didn't want to believe it. And then over time, I started to notice, you know, and then I was thinking, would he do that to me? You know what I mean? But then I started thinking about our relationship, you know what I mean? And how he was and how he was changing. And like one time you'll see him, he's this person, and another time you'll see him, he's another person. But it was like, it wasn't his personality that was changing. It was the entity was changing. This is how aura was changing.
It was changing.
But you know, I'm at a stage right now. Obviously, with our earlier interviews, I was angry, right? So I was cursing out the gate. I've kind of made peace. I've kind of made peace with all of it for me.
Beautiful.
You know, and I send them love now because they fucking need it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it.
And it's like we battled for a long time. We battled for a very long time together. And I didn't know we were battling, you know, but once I armored up with the armor of God, and I start returning to sender, and then I start getting on my journey of druidism, which is my birthright, which is what I was born. You know, I was born with this power, and that's why they were all around me, is because they knew. They had told me before that I was a king. And I kind of laughed at it. You know, I didn't really listen to it, but they knew about my past. They knew about my history, about my lineage. The Oceanic clan is where my name comes from. My name is Karney now, right? That's that anglicized Viking name that we were given when we got our name stolen. But my real name is Oceanic. And that the Oceanic clan were the High Kings of Ireland. And just because I don't have a crown on my head right now, or I'm not sitting in a big chair somewhere, doesn't mean that I don't have royal blood flowing through my veins.
100%. That's right.
100%.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 6, it says, and he has made us kings and priests unto God as Father, meaning we have the bloodlines of where we've come from in the ancestral lines, and you have that. And
you've
also,
got that Jewish blood as well, right? Because we're the same. We're Jews.
I'm Irish. I'm Irish.
Irish Jewish. Yeah. That's what I am, right? And the last time I was on, I was like, "Fuck the Jews." And I was like,
yeah,
I'm really saying that about myself because that's what my real heritage is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to learn about all of that stuff.
Yeah,
and you're starting to see how, the extreme Jews are doing what they're doing, and the regular Jews of the world today who are Jews are not happy with them either.
No. And there's this document, I don't know if we've ever talked about it. A friend of mine sent it to me, and I had a psychedelic experience reading this document. I mean, it was almost like being on ayahuasca, just reading it.
Right.
And it was called The Hidden Hand. And it was, this person says he's one of the 13 families, but no family that any person knows publicly is the real family. They are all the faces, and he's one of the families that really run the world. But he explains how they split it up like a pie, and his is in the religion world. He goes through, he explains everything, and he said we actually are higher density beings here, stuck in this third density, and we're
higher than 3D.
Yes,
in the 4D, but they ain't no 5D, right? They can't go above
5D, but they're here actually because, and this sounds crazy, but I think ultimately in the oneness, okay, this is going to make sense.
Right.
So we actually love you, but humanity wouldn't ascend without the polarity. And he goes through the Hebrew gods and the Old Testament and Yahweh and the Mosai and the Creator and all the different gods. And Earth was this place of blissfulness. It was Eden,
a central plane in the tree of life.
Exactly.
For the tree of life.
Humans weren't ascending; they were staying in the 5D. They weren't going to the up, 8th density, and they were just
stagnant.
Whether this is real or not, when I read it, it resonated with me. And so this pull, this incessant pull to the darkness, bloodlust, death, destruction. It's like, okay, I'm going to pull this river over here, and you and the river can pop out anytime you want. Some pop out right before the waterfall and still make it. Some never pop out, but we would never pop out
if they didn't get the push.
Exactly.
And I gotta admit, I do have to admit, right? Even though I've been angry with them and, for whatever the fuck they were doing behind my back, I still don't fully know, right? They have guided me to where I am today, for sure. Yeah. And they have let me in on a lot of information that the general public would not know about our creation and our existence.
Yeah.
And they've definitely guided me to grow and change. And for that, I thank them, but I wish they could have went a different way about it without putting me through hell, because I've been targeted since I was a kid, man. Like, my dad died when I was 4. I'm pretty sure they killed him. I've had recent information about that. And, I was alone. And then I was sent to boarding school, and the boarding school was run by the Anunnaki. I started to realize, now that I know how to pick them apart, I had only realized recently enough that the nuns that were running the convent that I grew up in, a Jesuit school, they were fucking Anunnaki. And they were really tough on us and rough on us, they really were. And I was part of the last generation that would have went through one of those, indoctrination systems by the Catholic Church, and obviously I wasn't sent there for no reason. I was sent there to learn. When I look at my life now, it's been nonstop action, start to finish, always elites around me, always dragging me somewhere, summoning me somewhere. They can do it without even calling me or anything. They can make me go places, and they've done things in the past where they've literally overtaken my body. And that was only ever when I was drunk or whatever, but never sober. When you're sober, your aura is locked in, you're good to go, you're safe, you're in touch with God. When depression, obviously I've dealt with depression all my life, And with depression, you're lowering your vibe and you're open and susceptible to all of these spiritual attacks.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure, like, obviously, I'd mentioned in some of my other podcasts, like I was getting fairly violent with these people through some of this. And I'm sure for that alone, they were sending witchcraft to me, but they also knew that I was getting like that because there was witchcraft on me. So for the first time ever, I'm 42. I was 42 last week. You know, I'm more me than I've ever been since I was a child. I'm like, I'm me again. I'm full on me again. And I wasn't for a very long time. You know, so it's good to be home. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in my body. It's good to be learning more about where we are, who we are, what's going on, and where we're going from here. You know, and it has to be unity. It has to be unity. Even with them, if they're still around through this, which they might not be, we have to find common ground if we're all going to be here.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been so close to ringing them. You know, because I have all their phone numbers. You know what I mean? I've only stopped talking to them in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, right? But like, I can contact them if I want to. And, you know, for a long time there, I was thinking about calling them, cursing them out. You know, I'm sure if I was drinking, I'd be doing it all the time, right? But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm holding myself a lot better. And but like, the anger is starting to subside now, and I'm starting to just see it for what it is. It's a learning experience for all of us, and we let this happen. We let them make the rules as they went along with their governments, their mind control governments, and nobody opposed it, really, for the most part. Like, let's be honest, they really didn't. They went out and, you know, shook their little flags for them and just went along with it because it was a party and there was some kind of event going on, and that's what they really wanted to be at. But now that people are standing in their power, and they are standing in their power, these women, the divine feminine, I'm more in love with the divine feminine than ever, because they are standing up and standing in their power, and they're coming back to who they are.
Yes.
And we're all growing. We're all growing together. And, you know, obviously not all of us are going to make it through this, right? But I'm going to make it through. You're going to make it through, because we're protected and we protect ourselves. You know, it's funny. I did a podcast with Nicholas Minyamin.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as spiritually protected as we are, because I don't think his mind is where we're at. And right after I did my 2 podcasts with him, his whole channel got deleted. And you know, I kind of knew it was down to my videos. You know, there's a lot of bullshitters on his channel anyway. But, you know, I like Nick, nothing against him or anything, but he's just not, it's not where we're at. And his whole thing got deleted. And somebody said to me, do you think Lucas's are going to get deleted? I said, not a hope. He won't. He's protected. I'm protected. We're speaking real truth. And it's true, they want to get out as well. I think they half want this to move along. I think
they're tired. They're like, how much more do we have to do to you? And then they're like, oh, you're not waking up yet? Okay, well, here we go. And I know they're exhausted. It's exhausting.
They're energetically draining themselves.
What do they show witches as without the blood of innocence? They always are haggard. And because the darkness, the spiritual dark energy sucks the life out of them. So they need other life. And if they're here in service to wake up those in their own sovereignty so that we can ascend, they are drained. How many more can they harvest? They're tired. And we're tired. And I don't mean you and I mean like the side that's like trying to figure this out in the truther world, but the truther world to me,
it's fucked. It's
lost as everything else. Like I talked to this woman, this beautiful, beautiful woman, reached out to me a couple years ago, year and a half ago, sent me a really nice message that I don't know how I followed her. She followed me. She doesn't have a big following. I, at the time, didn't have a big following. And I just thought, this is someone that's a straight shooter. And she sent me a really nice message that I have on my computer, and I have by my bedside a message about me. And she doesn't know me, but she watches the content and she can see blah, blah, nice stuff, stuff that really blessed me. But I finally had a call with her. She reached out to me and I had a call with her yesterday. And I think what she was saying was exactly, I was like, that's me. I've never heard someone else say this before in a way. It's like, the devotional heart. Like there's so much about mindfulness and mind control, mindfulness, mindful awareness, third eye.
Flutter.
It's like,
Flutter.
oh
Flutter.
my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what there's a lack of?
Heart.
How is
Like
our
you said to me.
heart surrendered, broken open, saying, God, fill me, wash me, thoroughly through me, like bathe me in this beauty and grace and mercy and life and truth and all these things. And all those are just words I said anyway, but somewhere the sentiment and the desire above all, beyond all, there is beauty, there's truth, there's just this, you know, and it's not found in the truth community, it's not found in this community, it's not found, it's like
they're all arguing with each other.
Exactly.
All they're doing, all the truth, especially in Ireland, right? But Ireland has to get a heavy pass from all of this, because Ireland has been heavily traumatized by the Vikings for a very long time. Now, the Vikings tried to tell me this indirectly. I think they knew that I think they know. They do a lot of psychedelics, right? They've never been off psychedelics, right? And they were on mescaline when they were coming here and doing everything they were doing.
The berserkers,
right? So that's their ancestors, the Nephilim, right? And then their ancestors are long gone. You know, their ancestors that did this stuff is long gone, but their ancestors passed down to them the empire that they had built off the back of fucking destroying the world. So these guys are just trying to keep it going or whatever, or living a nice life off or whatever. As like, they need to fuck off, like they do for sure, right? But it's like, let's not go to war or any of that. Even if they want it, they're not getting it. I ain't going to war with them. You know what I mean? I'm just not doing it, because I think that might be what some of them will want that, but I know that not all of them are on that frequency, because there's some of them have been trying to tell me for a long time. Paris Hilton's aunt is one of them. She used to come and visit me at work.
Which one?
Kyle?
Sorry? Or which one?
Francesca Hilton. She was Conrad Hilton's daughter, and her mother was Zsa Zsa Gabor. And I was recently talking to a mystic, and she told me that Francesca had been visiting me because she'd been trying to tell me something, but she couldn't tell me. She was telling me roundabout stuff. And I remember Francesca telling me stuff about kids and shit like that. And it's like, this is a long time before I found out about any of this stuff, you know, very long time before I found out any of this stuff. She's dead now, you know, but she was an amazing person. I really, really liked her, you know, but it's like, they were all finding their way to me for a reason. And obviously they knew the reasons, but I hadn't a clue back then. You know what I mean? I just didn't have a clue. But I think they wanted me to know for a later period in life where, you know, I would need to know these things. And with the Queen dead now, and not, you know, everybody knows that the Queen, you know, on their coat of arms, on the bottom left-hand corner, they have the harp. And the harp is the crown. The harp is the instrument of God. And that belongs to Ireland. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm the king of Ireland now. I'm the king of the UK. I'm the king of the world. Good. Because I'm part of the Oceanic clan, and that was ours before they came in here. And if she's gone, then that needs to come back to us, and that needs to be given back to the people, because we are all one. There is no one out of everybody. We're all one. We need to realize that. You know, right now they're shipping in all of these non-desirable migrants into Ireland, and I mean, these people look feral, you know, and they're this crazy government full of pedophiles is giving them, you know, massive amounts of money. They're giving them all of our houses and everything, and there's people living on the streets, and yet these Ukrainians, right, which is Khazar land, right? That's the Khazarian mafia. They're shipping all of these in here, and it's basically trying to split the Irish up again and make the Irish go to war and with each other and then with them and get lost in the middle of it. We can't do that anymore now. We need to unite as one family. and we need to point out the wrongs that are happening. We need to see them for what they are, not fall into the traps, and we need to ascend together. We need to remember who we are. We're kings and queens. If you're Irish and you're on this land, you have grown up in the most special land in the world. I didn't even know that this land was as special as it was. Didn't particularly like Ireland when I was leaving it because it's a heavy, dense place to be. But the reason it's a heavy, dense place to be is because half of Ireland would be half Viking, half Irish. So the Irish end of it, from the Tuatha De Danann, right, which is magical blood that we have, we're half angelic, half whatever they are, which is most likely Nephilim, right? So we are related through blood now, you know, and not because we wanted to be, it's because they came in and forcefully took our women out of here. They told me this, they brought the women to Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark.
Yeah. They tell us in Braveheart, what if we can't drive them out, we'll breed them out.
Exactly. And that's what they fucking did. Like, they're telling the truth. Game of Thrones is a true story, man. I remember watching Game of Thrones, and it was the elites kept trying to show me Game of Thrones. They've been trying to get me to watch different stuff for years. And it's like, one of them would be trying to get me to watch it over there. And then I'll go over to one of their other houses, and they're trying to get me to watch it as well. I think this has been a revelation of the method kind of a thing, you know, where they're telling me without telling me. And it's like, I definitely know that some of them love me for sure. I know that some of them don't like me because they see the light in me and they can't stand it. And it's like, they've thrown so much witchcraft on me. They've got me put in prison in America. They got me deported. They've taken my businesses from me. They've sent people into my life, these CIA operatives that they've sent into my life. They, like, everybody thinks the CIA is like 007. They're not. These are people with kids and everything. They bring kids into it, old people, families, and like, you know about stuff like that, right? And it's like, they did have the wool pulled over my eyes for a long time, but like, I can see the trees through the wood now, and it's like, I know what's going on. I'm standing in my power, and I ain't gonna stand by and let my country be taken down. You know, I'm back in Ireland now, and I ain't leaving. You know, they've been offering me private jets back to America. You know, it's funny, like, they always hit me up around my birthday for some reason. And last week, a load of them came out of the woodwork, and I just ignored them, you know, because you don't interact. We don't negotiate with terrorists or demons. But they've been showing up, and, you know, a few of them, you know, some of them I just don't know where they're at.
I want to bless you. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want to bless you. What they're doing is giving you an opportunity to verify what you are doing, because they'll say, all right, what are you going to sell your birthright for, Esau? Like the story, like, oh, we'll fly you private. Oh, okay.
They know I don't care about any of that, though, because they were trying to get me over there in July. And I said, nah, I can't go over. It's too early. And I said, I do want to go back. I need to go back to LA. I need to get to that Getty Center, right? Because that's where they were trying to keep me away from. Obama himself deported me from America, right? That was not for no reason. Do you know why they did that? It's because I was interacting with the elites on a daily basis, seeing stuff that wasn't making sense to me. But then I was going into the astral world at night, and I was going snooping around in what I'd seen during the day. So they were trying to push me off that land because I was in that etheric system. You know, for years they did this stuff, you know. And then when the shit was hitting the fan with in 2020, they summoned me to Iceland, and they had me in Iceland, and they were trying to keep me there and park me offside, keep me away from what was going on here. And then I realized what was going on. I left there. I came to London. I led 2 million people through London in a freedom march. I stayed over there for a long time. I camped out for 7 weeks in a park over there, you know, showing that we weren't going anywhere. And then I came home to try and do it here. But it's like, there's so much division here, and there's so many demons that are hiding in the truth movement, and they're just starting shit left, right, and center on Facebook, Telegram groups, Instagram. Everybody thinks that demons are like invisible. They're not. They're people like you and me. They've downloaded themselves with demons, or they got, you know, unfortunately for them, they got demonically possessed as a child. They didn't have a choice. So like, now we need to help them to get those demons out of them. We're here to heal them.
I think you shared this meme. I'm pretty sure you shared this meme, but if you didn't, you'll know what I'm talking about. That we're not a physical body with a soul. We're a soul with a physical body. And you know that
we're not even here. We're not even here.
Yeah,
We're not even here. We're the essence around the body. We're not even in the body. Just
but you know
identify with it.
that Doctor Strange scene where Bruce Banner, who's played by whatever the actor, gets hit by that woman in the white who is Keeper of Time, and he like his soul like comes out of his body. You know that scene
I
where
didn't
like
see it. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't
maybe it
seen it.
wasn't
But
you that shared it, but
I get what you're talking about. It's a bit like Interstellar between the bookcase,
yeah,
right?
you
It's like
can
between
see like
time.
his multiple, like he's out of his body and his soul, it gets knocked out.
Mm.
And why I bring this up, and we mentioned that some people don't know they're demonically possessed, and demons, day, de of mun, the moon, of the moon. So they operate in darkness.
Right.
And there's daemon and demon, and they're both of the moon energy, which is why full moons are so important to the dark occult, because that's when they can all this all this
when they
language
charge their rituals. They charge the
Exactly
rituals
right,
off the moon.
because
But
demons,
funnily enough, I've been obsessed with the moon since I was a kid. I love the moon. I used to stay up at night, and maybe it's because I was being attacked and I didn't know. But even now, when I see the moon, I'm one of those people, oh, look at the moon. I text people or whatever. I see the beauty in the moon. I don't know if it is good for us.
yeah, who knows?
I don't think it is. I think Disney's been telling us about all that stuff, right? And it's like when Disney brought me to the premiere of Tron Legacy, they brought me to that and they were all kind of watching me while I was watching it. And I hadn't a clue what I was watching about the grid and all this stuff. But now I get it. Now I get the grid. And funnily enough, I just so happened to be working on the grid to mend the grid. And that's why I was in Glastonbury in the heart chakra and working on the ley lines. You know what I mean? But I didn't know any of this even existed. But I'd say he didn't know it. I would think that Nick knew that I didn't know any of this existed.
Well, when there's so much, I mean, yeah. Well, let me finish this one point because I think this is important for anyone watching. No, this is beautiful. When we have trauma, when something happens, it could be physical, it could be energetic. When we get scared, our soul, because we are designed to protect our own sovereignty, our soul can't be touched. They know it. But if they can scare us, to hit us like the nuns, beat the crap, our soul leaves our body a little bit every time. So people think, well, how can I be possessed? Meaning you're not in full possession of this body that you're walking around in. So there's a gap. And in that gap, which we call trauma, which is unhealed pain, which pain is equating to fear, and fear is where they operate. It's all fear-based mind control. So the demons hide in that, just like that physical object I was telling you that they can legally have authority in your home, they can legally have authority in your body, in your mind.
And you've let them in at some stage. Exactly. When I was doing my ayahuasca, when I was doing my ayahuasca journey, you know, I rinsed that. I went as far as I could with that, right? I did it too much. Not too much, but I remember two shamans saying to me one night, they had taken me through a weekend. I'd had two shamans. It was heavy. And I remember one of the shamans who was an elder, I respect this man so much. He had told me that I wasn't fully in my body. And I got offended, right? And my little ego was there going, oh, I'm in my body. I know who I am. And he says, you're not fully, he says, you're not fully back yet. And then I remember about a year after that, we went at a weekend. I had two shamans, just me with two shamans, and they beat the shit out of me in the spirit realm. And then after that, he shook my hand and he said to me, he said, "You're back. Wow. You're back." And I've never been the same since. You know, I'm now the Trev who got here as a soul, as a child, before the trauma and before the demonology started on me. But I think they hit me with demonology because I know I was safe when my dad was around. But I know after my dad left that I wasn't safe anymore because that's
he was the spiritual covering over you.
He was the spiritual cover. And then after that is when my life went downhill big time. You know, even though I've lived this, you know, glamorous lifestyle, you know, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I was working. I knew I was in those circles to figure shit out and to learn stuff. And I stayed in it for as long as I did. And I knew when to pull the ejector seat and when to get away with it, or get away from it. Sorry. And I left that in 2016, and then like the clouds parted the sky, and I started to see what was going on. I looked in the mirror. I was so fat. I've lost 50
Yeah,
pounds. My face was out like
yeah,
that.
I remember when you first reached out to me and I saw you, and then I saw your Instagram photos. Like, this looks like two different brothers here.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm a different person now. Trust me, you know. And back then, like I was angry, and you know, like I said, I was drinking and partying a lot. Like I was out in Hollywood every night of the week. I was in Vegas most weekends. You know, I was doing all these things. I was flying around the world partying. I'm sure that's where they loved me when I was weak. But as soon as I started to show my power, and as soon as I started to step out of it, they stood back, man. I could see the fear in them when I would get pissed off and I'd start going after them. They backed off, man. And I used to say to myself, why? How am I affecting them in that way? Why do they care about me? They've got all the money in the world, and I know they know more about the world than I do.
yeah,
They knew who I was behind everything. I just didn't know who I was, you know. And Isa is king, and you know, they know, and I know, you know, and the world's gonna know soon enough.
yeah.
But we're on the way into a transition now. We're going to transition back into reuniting with our guides and ancestors, finding out who's been really watching our back all along. And we've been protected.
Yes.
It's when we forget about God and we forget about our guides and ancestors, and we forget about our land, and we start, you know, abusing our land, which is where our guides and ancestors are. It's like they couldn't protect us, and they were, you know, these demonic humans were able to run riot with us because we weren't in control of our own minds, because we've been watching fucking TV and listening to music and partying and events, and that's all we were focused on. But now that things are starting to quieten down a bit, people are starting to hear the true inner voice inside them, which is their God, higher self, but also the nice things that their guides and ancestors are sending them, the truths of things that they're looking at, you know? It's a beautiful time to be alive. It's the best time ever to be alive. I'm so happy for it. And like I said, I forgive these entities, and, you know, I'll never forget it. I won't be forgetting it in a hurry, right? I don't think I'd be able to if I tried. But you know, we went toe to toe, and we did battle for a long time, and it was a battle of ignorance on my side, you know, where I wasn't listening to my intuition and I wasn't following the path that I came here to follow. I was being guided off track with them, but I'm back now and I ain't going nowhere, and I'm here to take my land back.
I love it.
And guide our people to freedom.
And brother, I think it would be, you know, forgive means foresight, foreknowledge, forbear means to do something before it happens, right?
In advance.
And the word in Hebrew for love is ahava, which means to give. So when we forgive, it's not to accept what they've done. It's to say, I love you as if it never happened.
It's a truce, right? You're coming forward with a truce.
There's an atonement there. And I heard this saying today that atonement is the highest vibration. When you can make atonement, when someone says, acknowledges and say, this is what I've done, and there's atonement, that's the most beautiful reconciliation that frequency allows. However, if we forget, it is to diminish and throw away all the lessons that we've learned. That's right. So we are not to forget.
I wonder, will they ever tell me? Will they ever admit it? I already know, because I've taken it off, right? And I've had other high-ranking priestesses. You know, I'm a high priest first before I'm anything else, right? I've had other priestesses that can go into the etheric realm and check out everything, and they tracked it back, you know, and they did track it to the gays, and they did track it to the Disneys, and they did track it to Iceland and Scandinavia and Stefan Eriksson and, you know, Drop Dead Fred and all these other people, you know? So I would like them to admit what they've done, if they want forgiveness. You know, if they want to call a truce, I'm willing to talk to them, at least. You know, I'm not willing to just, I'm definitely not going to be fucking pushover, right? And they know that. They don't, you know, all this shit talking that I've done about them since I've come out, and I've done quite a lot of shit talking about them, right? And they deserve it, right?
I mean, it's a lot for me to hold space for.
I'm sure. Sorry. But they haven't said a word to me. They haven't said a word. Nobody's even messaged me and said, what are you saying about me? Nothing. And that shows that, you know, that's showing themselves straight away that they haven't said a word, that, you know. And I was like, I don't know. This is such a deep rabbit hole. Like I could stay on a podcast for 12 hours telling people about that world, and I still wouldn't scratch the surface.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, I can't tell my life story in, I don't know how long it would take, because it's been non-stop back-to-back spiritual warfare since I got here, more or less, since my dad died, since I was about 4. You know, it's been spiritual warfare. I just didn't know it was. But my mom has been getting hit with it. My brothers have been getting hit with it. And I'm pretty sure some of the rest of my family have been getting hit with it. They can't see it. They don't want to listen to it, but they don't know because they're in it. They can't see through it.
Yeah.
So I would hope when everybody else starts to wake up and they start to see the real truth of what's been going on, that it's not a cartoon on a Disney channel, the Disney kingdom, right? Stolen kingdom, stolen from Ireland. The Getty kingdom is stolen from Ireland as well. But it's like, they've done some horrible things to fucking humanity, man. They've done some seriously horrible shit, man. Leukemia, all these cures for leukemia and cancer and stuff. Let me put you in a radiation chamber. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And people signed up for it. People signed up to in 2020 for all of this stuff. And then they defended it. And 2 years later, they're still defending it. And they're really sick. Really sick. Yeah. I was staying with a friend of mine recently. And the father of her child came over, and she said he doesn't look well. He hasn't been great. And I met him there one day, and she said he's not great, and he looked okay to me. And then she messaged me yesterday and said he's in a coma. So within a few days, he's gone into a coma. It's heavy shit, man. And I'm hearing it from left, right, and center, and it's like, we can't. You know, the light bearers need to. You know, I've already grieved everybody in my family should they pass. You know, I've already disassociated. I love them to death, right? They're my family. You know. Here now, they're my family. You know, it might not be my soul family, but I respect and honor them for the time that we've spent here together, you know. But like, I just wish that they would wake up and let us help them, you know. But we can't take on the weight of the decisions that they've made that are now going to drag them somewhere dark, and then we're expected to stand by them and sit with them while they waste away because they made a bad decision. We can't do that because we're the leaders moving forward. We inherit the earth.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to come back as children.
Yeah.
I think they're going to learn from us who actually did hold the line. I think that's the most beautiful lesson. It's like,
and they'll remember. The next generation coming in are going to remember the past lives.
Real remembrance. Yeah.
Soul freedom. You said something to me. It's been in my mind for the last few days. Soul freedom.
Yep.
Soul freedom.
That's it.
That's what we want.
We are here to be soul liberators, which is what a real Christian, if there is a word, means, because Christ means Messiah. Messiah means anointed one to bring freedom.
Yeah.
So we are soul liberators.
We're doing it.
And it's beautiful. And this whole shift that we're going through right now, part of it, I look at it, it's a game. And I think, you know, Q says you're watching a movie. And so it's like, yeah, it is a movie. But what they don't say is we're the ones writing the script.
Constantly, every day, because we're constantly manifesting. Where Star Trek kept coming to me, right? I haven't seen Star Trek since I was a kid. Star Trek, you know, when they're saying, right, where are we going to go now? Blah, 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 and off into the world. That's us. That's what we're doing. Yeah. We're constantly manifesting our reality moving forward. And because they have been ruling the earth and having to hide things, then they've created this veil of illusion built up with lies, right? This ice wall of lies.
Yeah.
And we couldn't see through that, but now we're starting to see through the veil, and we're starting to see that, hold on a second, we're the ones fueling this. You know, why are we watching movies about people shooting each other? You know, we don't see that on a daily basis. It's madness. You know, but what it's doing is teaching people how to, you know, disconnect themselves from being a neutral kind of a loving person. And if something bad happens to them, to go out and get revenge. And revenge just keeps, you know, feeding revenge. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of people I you know, was pissed off, and might be still a bit pissed off with them, but I just have to forgive, man. Never thought I'd be able to do it. I never thought I'd be sitting here saying these things. But you kind of have to let stuff go when it starts getting that serious. You have to start thinking there's got to be a way to find common ground with your neighbor to stop this, not with them, with your neighbor, and come together. Before, I grew up in Ireland before the flat screen TVs came out, the new cars, the holidays, the watches, and all the, the bullshit that came along with it. And it was like, if you were walking down the street, you said hello to someone, you stopped and you talked to them. And it's like, now I do it now. I make sure I do it now. I say hello, especially if you look a bit grumpy. I'll be like, oh, hi, how are you? I hope you're having a lovely day. Whether I'm in a good mood or not, sometimes I'll be doing it to wind them up, or other times I'll be, it's legit. But either way, I'm out spreading that light, walking around with my white Labrador. And he's a little light bearer as well. I bring him everywhere with me, and he runs up to people. And it's like, I'm chilling out in my old age now, and I'm chilling out since this witchcraft came off me. I'm realizing it was the witchcraft that actually had left me with a lot of aggression in me. Yep. And I've made a lot of mad decisions off the back of that. I've done a lot of crazy shit. All you got to do is Google Trevor Karney, and it's, it's there. Some of it's there. All right. It's pretty extreme shit, but never like evil, and I've never done anything evil, or, it's just been active, and I'm sure I was active through my alcohol years. I know these people were astral projecting into me and overtaking my body while I was drinking. And then I'd wake up in the morning with a blackout, and I'd have a long list of people that I needed to apologize to. But that wasn't me. Actually wasn't me. But back then I thought it was me. Right. For a long time, I actually thought I was after doing that. And I had to carry all this depression and karma for stuff that I actually didn't do. But where I fucked up was drinking first to begin with. I let alcohol, I let that spirit into me. That's where I made the mistake, and that's where it went downhill. So, I actually hand it to myself, and I commend myself for being able to shed that, because I wasn't able to stop drinking for a long time. And I kicked that like 6 years ago, and I've changed dramatically in that time. People don't know me anymore. They don't even know how to approach me. They just know Hollywood Trev, you know what I mean? Like the party animal or whatever, but that wasn't even the real Trev. I was a passenger, and I'd often thought that I'd had some mad thoughts in the past where I actually felt like I was in the passenger seat, and I was kind of along for the ride with some of this stuff. And the pedals weren't there for me to hit the brakes. And then long time later, I actually started to realize that was the truth. So we're all learning right now. We're all learning. And it's like, I'm out now spreading love and light. Whereas, a few months ago, I might have wanted things to go a different way. I think it's the only way.
I mean,
I would have been up for it.
We haven't talked. I mean, the last time we talked like this was the podcast part 3, right? And,
our text messages are very short and sweet, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
And it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but it's like, good? Yeah, I'm good. How you doing? And
we pick up from where we left off. That's a good, solid friendship. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
I can't wait to meet you in person. Wow. I've got a private jet ready to take me back.
It's gonna be so fun. It is gonna be fun. We are gonna have a beautiful celebration. The world is gonna celebrate, and
absolutely,
this journey is only about finding the love and light, and in light, there is no separation in light. In light, you see it all. It is all one.
Because when you're angry at someone, right? Sorry to cut you off, right? When you're angry at someone, which I've been very good at in the past, right? You're the one that holds that. You're walking around like that. But when you let it go and you say, I'll send them love or whatever, you actually liberate yourself.
Yes.
You let it go.
Yes.
It's like even watching all this bullshit on the news or whatever. I obviously don't watch the news, but people send me stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't let it in. That's what they want to manifest. That's what they're trying to push you to manifest. That's why the media is doing that. And I was like, I ain't taking that on. I'm not going to co-manifest that or co-create that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand in truth. I'm gonna stand in love, and I'm gonna stand in light, and that I'm gonna drag the rest of you with me.
That's right.
Whoever wants to come can come, and whoever doesn't won't be here. But we send them love and light. We'll understand that their trauma was just too much for them to carry, and they couldn't get past it.
That's right.
They couldn't get past the fear.
That's right.
And they didn't trust God or their immune system or this temple of God that you reside in.
Mm. The media, break that word down, me as an ego, egocentric, me, the ego God, dia.
Yeah.
The ego God. The ego God
Wow.
is creating a false reality of ego. And there in ego, it's opaque. There's no light that is allowed through ego.
Yeah.
And so as we separate from the ego God, media, and we come back to nature, remember, wow, this is a divine, and they're trying
It's
to spray and kill it, and they're doing all the stuff, but still it cannot be killed. Life cannot be defeated. Ultimately, even the mushroom grows from the decay. I mean, it's incredible. And I'm really excited. And first of all, I love you, brother. And I'm really glad in this place today, because I was like, all right, I was prepared. I'm like, I'll hold space for him. Like,
what's he going to do today? What's his plan today? Who's he coming after today?
But it's so beautiful to feel you, to feel your energy, and it's feeling just calmness and just peace. And as the coming days and weeks progress, they are throwing there's no power to it. It's like, okay, just put your cards on the table. Let's put the hands down. Let's all play, and let's be done, so that we can embrace, if you want to embrace. You and I, what you're talking about is the vision I've had since I can remember. And it's what I talked about in my TED talk. It's not indicting the perpetrator. It's holding space, saying, if you want to heal, come. And the wounded, come, and let us come, and let us come, and let us come, and let us hold and hug and embrace and cry together and weep together.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
Because we've been frozen, right?
That's that.
Let it go.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I love you, brother.
I love you too.
I'm proud of you for getting to this place. I really am.
It wasn't easy, man. It wasn't easy. I've especially through the ayahuasca, like just crying and just having to let go of it was really hard. It's been really hard.
That was integrating your lifetime journeys into this short time and space. So you had to go through those ayahuasca journeys.
Past life trauma that I've had is pretty heavy. Well, yeah.
Man.
But I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to see the things that are happening. I'm connecting with some beautiful souls online, and I just can't wait to meet them all in person.
You got people. There's Diane, Hang Fake 44. Jeez. Okay, and Dana Freelack and Return 88. I mean, people love you, brother, and they're supporting you, and you got love.
Yeah,
and now
and I love them.
I know they know. I know.
Yeah.
And now what we're saying is, everyone, it's time to detach our energy that we hold from fighting.
External. Yeah.
Just be the power of beingness in love, in light, from the heart, not from the mind, from the heart, and just pouring forth like this. What can be
present?
Nothing. Yes.
We need to be present. We are the present, the gift of presence, And they just need, everybody needs to turn the TV off. Everybody needs to stop sharing the bad news, right? It's like, what's that, that cartoon or movie or something? I think it's The Cat in the Hat, Whoville.
Yeah.
And it's about, or it could be the Grinch I'm thinking of, and it's the Who people, the World Health Organization people, right? And it's about a Grinch up in the mountains, and he's like doing all these horrible things to the people in the town below, which is the witches and the Gettys, right? They live in the highest peaks.
Yes, the Bible tells us principalities in high places.
Literally on top of a hill. Correct. They send out their broadcasts.
Correct, because it only goes down.
Yes.
They can't send up. They have there is no ascension in their power. So they can't send it up. So they have to physically go high, and it sends down. That's exactly right. That's exactly how they do it.
But look, we send them love and life. We thank love and light. We thank them for the lessons, and they taught us some fucking lessons, right?
Oh,
I don't know about my TripAdvisor. I don't know what kind of TripAdvisor we
exactly. We'll leave that
Five
review.
stars.
Energetic review. I got a roll, and I know you do too, brother, but there's a viewer said SF says love you both, and Laura Smith says love you guys, I'm friends with Trevor. And so you got a lot of love, and everyone, thank you for watching. And brother, I'll get you this video file. So
we'll be back soon. This ain't enough.
Somebody will be doing stuff in person.
Yeah,
that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, we need to do that. I need to come back to America, but I'm not leaving Ireland until all of this is done.
Yeah.
Not a hope.
Not yet. Love you, brother.